Hi, Angie. Good morning. I hope that you really had a good break. Okay, so for today, we are going to have the lesson on land communities. Wait, let me fix my screen. Okay. Okay, so there are different types of land communities, okay? You have field communities, you have desert communities, and then you have forest communities. And we're going to learn a little bit about each of those. For the vocabulary today, we have the word dew. Dew, it's like this type of moisture or something wet, water, that comes from the air and it condenses or gets together in small drops on cool surfaces during the night. Usually it happens in plants, like what's going on in this picture here. Then we have the word saguaro. Saguaro, it's a really tall cactus in Arizona. Arizona is a state in the United States. Okay, so for field communities, they can be found in many places. They can be found near rivers or mountains. And some are pastures, like where cows and sheep graze, where they eat grass. And there are also wild fields where people don't go. And in wild fields, you can observe better field communities, meaning groups of plants and animals that live together. One animal that lives in a wild field is a rabbit. The mother rabbit makes a hole, a nest, um, and it lines it with her fur to keep their babies warm. And in winter, they make a little cave in the snow, but they do it away from the wind, and that keeps them wetter despite that keeps them warm despite the really cold weather. And then you can also find the prairie dog. Okay, this is a prairie dog, and they live in underground homes. They live in groups, and their homes are all like there are different holes, and they're all connected to each other. And then in the field community, you have some animals that sleep during summer. Instead of sleeping during winter, like some animals hibernate, some of them sleep in summer and they're called summer sleeper. A chipmunk, it's a type of summer sleeper. And then we have the desert communities. Deserts are parts in the earth where there is very little rainfall. In some deserts, there are not enough plants for humans to live there. Lima, it's a desert, but we do have enough plants as well. Since it's modern times, we can bring some things to us for us to be alive. But in some deserts, it doesn't rain at all, so you don't have any plants. Okay? Some animals are able to live in the desert, and since deserts are really hot and dry, animals have to get their water from what they eat. And some plants use the night dew, that water that collects in the night, as a water source, and animals lick the dew from the leaves. After rain, many kinds of plants come to sudden life in the desert, but they have like a short lifespan. They're only alive for a quick moment. Examples of plants that can live in the desert. You can have a cactus, you can have mesquite, sagebrush, different types of trees, cactus, bushes. Um, the mesquite, this tree here, can send its root down 100 feet, okay, and then it reaches underground streams, so like kind of like small rivers that run under the ground. And the cactus, for example, here this picture, it stores water inside the plant, okay. And then many birds live in the desert. Here's an example of a bird that lives in the desert. It's an elf owl, okay. It's really cute. uh, and they live in little holes in saguaro cactus, and they eat insects and small animals. But the ones that make the holes are these birds, the woodpeckers. So they peck out the holes, and then the elf owl moves into the holes and there makes a nest. And then you can find other mammals in desert communities. You can find camels and mule deer. Those are big mammals. And then you can have small mammals too, like prairie dogs. You can find pack rats, kangaroo rats, jackrabbits. And then you can also find smaller animals and decomposers. Remember that when we talk about animals or plants, we talk about producers being plants, animals that produce, well, plants. Producers are what things that produce food for others. Then you have consumers, animals that eat plants, or animals that eat other animals that ate plants. And then you have decomposers. Decomposers are animals that feed on dead things, okay? So they're like the cleanup team, remember that we talked about that before? Okay, so you have decomposers in the desert. You have turkey vultures, you have termites, and then you can find other animals, ants, beetles, grasshoppers, snails. So a desert, it's a true community with producers, with consumers, and with decomposers. And then we have the forest community. This is my favorite, it's so cute. And I think you're gonna like it because of the animals. A forest, it's a very special kind of community. You have different layers in the forest. You have the top layer, you have the middle layer, you have the lower layer, like this picture here. In the top level, you can find, you have the upper branches of the tree, and then you have animals that receive a lot of light from the sun. And then in the middle layer, you have younger trees, bushes, shrubs, and then you have many birds and climbing animals. And then on the lower layer, you have ferns and berries for plants, and then bears, deer, foxes. And here we have a lot of examples of different animals that you can find in a forest community. You can find squirrels, you can find chipmunks, porcupines, raccoons. For example, this is a raccoon here. You can find an eagle, owl over here. Where's my owl? Here. You can find insects, caterpillars, worms, fungi. So a lot of variety in forest. Okay, so Ange, that will be it for the day. And I hope you have a really good day in your other classes. Bye.